Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another fun-filled episode of TNA Impact. I'm, of course, your host, Brent Piles. I'll throw it to me and my buddy Dan Griffin here in a second. This week on TNA Impact, we're looking at 4 more episodes of Impact from July 2nd to July the 23rd. Lots of stuff going on during these 4 episodes of Impact. And me and Dan are pretty excited to talk about it and pretty excited to, see what's going forward here in 2004 TNA. So let's get to it. Let's get into it.
21 at Universal Studios at Universal Orlando Resort. It's total non-stop action wrestling Impact.
I'm just experimenting a little bit with my light on this end. Does this look better than usual or just creepy?
Hey, you look fine. No worries. I don't see anything wrong with it. You look about the same as usual, so not creepy.
Okay.
Not as creepy. I mean, as least creepy as 2 freaking marks talking about wrestling that happened 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Doesn't get much creepier than that already.
I don't know. I think as far as wrestling fans go, we're definitely on the not creepy side.
That's true. I've seen. Wow. That's a whole nother podcast for a whole nother day if you want to talk about creepy wrestling fans on the internet.
I think it's more a police report.
A long ass police report too.
Yeah, this fucking connection. Sorry, I'm having a problem with the actual. Right, you're gonna stay? Thank you.
Oh, that sort of connection.
Yeah, it's just this. I need to replace this headset. The even the pin that connects in there now is just coming too loose. I need to do. To be fair, I need to do a full system upgrade. I need a new laptop and the whole shebang. But that shit's expensive.
I'm with you, man. I need a new laptop too. But yeah, like you said, shit's expensive. I probably could use a new mic because this thing's old. If I get muffled, if I start to sound like I'm muffled during this, please let me know because it's been doing this thing where it stops recording my volume through my mic and starts doing it through the fucking computer, and kind of like I'm fucking yelling down a hallway.
That's a pain in the ass. I think I said last time I've had to resort to using the mic that I first started podcast.
Hey, well, you sound crystal clear, so that's all that matters.
I should have been using it all along, probably, but well.
We were talking about mishaps. I was going to tell you, it's funny. Literally every single Tuesday when we load this thing up, the mayor has me on mute on his laptop every single time.
He's trying to tell you something.
I guess so. Well, I've been told I talk too much and to shut up before, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, but it'd be a shit podcast if you didn't talk.
That's true. Podcasts with no one talking are usually not very good.
Oh, God. Should we get into it then?
I think we should. So, as you know, we've been watching, 2 or 3 TNAs in a row. So we went through I was going to say a whole month, but it's actually 1 more in July because somehow there was 5, whatever fucking day of the week this came on, Tuesday, I think maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so 5 Tuesdays and 1 July. So we watched 4 more episodes of TNA Impact, and just generally these 4 episodes in, what'd you think about them? Same sort of good TV, or did you think it fell off at all?
It felt like it fell off in the middle. Episodes 6 and 7 were fine, but they didn't sort of hit the heights of the previous ones, and then it came on real strong for episode 8. Just sort of overall, I was hyped by the end of episode 8.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I thought it started strong with the first one. The 2 in the middle were kind of, and then not that they were bad. It just didn't have anything that really would, something that would catch your eye. But then definitely toward the end of the 4th show, definitely hyped up and wanted to seriously look into watching that weekly pay-per-view because it looks like it's going to be very good. But yeah, we'll get right into it. The first one we looked at was from June the 2nd. A quick recap: Elix Skipper defeated Alex Shelley. The most wanted D'Lo Brown defeated Team Japan. Monty Brown defeated Asparo Negro, I think is how you say that. Michael Shane. Thank you. Thanks, Dan. I should have let you do this. Michael Shane and Kazarian defeated Amazing Red and Chris Sabin. And then Team Canada, Petey Williams, Bobby Roode, and Eric Young defeated 3 Live Crew, which, of course, is Ron killings. Conan and BG James. Dan, what's something that from this first episode that you really enjoyed?
So just off the bat, the whole show just was very wrestling heavy, and which felt very different because the other shows had, they had a good amount of backstage and different vignettes, whatever. This kind of went very wrestling forward, which was a nice change of pace for one episode. And it really gave all the story stuff around the main event a bit more gravitas. So I was pretty happy with that from a television standpoint. That was my sort of serious point looking at it as a TV show. My other point that I was going to make was, what was the fucking point of Dennis Rodman?
Yeah, I was like, when I saw that, I was like, I wonder how much they paid him to be here, because whatever it wasn't worth it, because he didn't do any, he brought nothing to it. There was no storyline attached to it. He didn't get involved at all. He was just kind of there. It was really, really strange. I'm like, because you think they're like, oh, we're gonna have Dennis Rodman on the program next week, so you figure like, oh, something's gonna happen. They're gonna build towards some storyline. We're gonna see Dennis throughout the night before he's involved in a match. No, just walks out to the ring with 3 Live Crew. Was right? Is that who he was with?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and it was just a fucking. It was like the member berries from South Park. They just trotted him out like, hey, remember the NWO? That was fun. He was in that.
Yeah, no, that was really, really weird. Definitely, because it's like, why is he even here?
Yeah, it was dog shit. It was a really weird thing. But it was the turd in the punch bowl, because the whole show, like we said, was pretty good. But yeah, just Dennis Rodman's presence confused the hell out of me.
Really made no sense for him to be there. One thing that you're going to hear from me as we go through all of this is I really enjoy anytime primetime Elix Skipper is in the ring, because he's just fantastic. I never really realized it in WCW, because I guess I really wasn't into WCW by the time he was really around, which is like 99, 2000, which was when I was totally checked out of it. But everything he did, when he had a singles match with Alex Shelley, he's going to be in some tag team matches later with Christopher Daniels. I love primetime Elix Skipper.
Yeah, he's a great hand, and he really had a big hand in forming sort of early TNA, especially the Impact days. Everybody always talks about the walking across the cage for the Rana, that huge spot. But just week in, week out, he's top quality, high level performer that I don't think ever really got his flowers, to be honest. Particularly in TNA, where he did his best work.
Yeah, no, you're right, because I think if you asked a lot of people, they wouldn't even be like, who's primetime Elix Skipper? They wouldn't even know who the fuck you were talking about. Yeah, so I really liked the opening match with him and Alex Shelley. I thought that was, for me, that was the best match on the show. It was really. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, no, this isn't the one that had the triple threat match at the end.
No.
Yeah. So primetime versus Alex Shelley was a really good match. It's funny, Alex Shelley, whenever I see him in this era, he looks like little Freddie Prinze Jr.
He does, with the douchebag facial hair he's got going on as well.
And like the spiky hair with the blonde tips at the top. Every time I see him, like, oh, it's fucking Freddie Prinze Jr.
I think I was 15 years old when this was debuting, so you bet your ass I had spiky hair like that, just without the frosted tips. And I think I looked a douchebag too.
I'm sure I had about as much hair as I do now back in 2004, so not a lot, not enough to fucking spike it up and get frosty tips. That's for sure.
Man, I tell you one thing with Alex Shelley at the minute, he's with Goldilocks at this point, is he? Yeah.
So not yet. I think it's the next show is when he starts going with Goldilocks and Abyss, I believe.
Well, okay, we'll get to that then. I did like that they were bringing a little bit more story into the X Division. Just the start of that with the whole Kazarian and the Michael Shane and the AJ Styles angle, because the X Division matches have been great, the tag matches have been great. They've had the Team Canada, Team Mexico, Team Japan, etc., which is all fine. But to get a good bit of story into the singles aspect and whatnot, I think that was a really good thing as well. I do have to disagree with you on the best match. I loved Team Japan versus AMW and D'Lo Brown.
I mean, you couldn't go wrong with any of the matches on the show. But yeah, that was a good one.
True. Yeah, very true. Actually, to be fair, I think the weakest match bell to bell was the main event. And it was that was weirdly the start of some questionable commentary decisions that TNA made over the next couple of episodes. But yeah, there was no bad match on the card. It was you just have to go kind of the least good match. I think is probably the way to put it.
Yeah, because despite Dennis Rodman being out there for no fucking reason, I like what they always do well on these shows is that they always leave you with something going on in the ring. It doesn't end without there's usually always a big brawl at the end, which catches your attention and wants you to makes you want to tune into whatever's coming up on the pay-per-view or make sure that you tune in next week. And they did a good job in this main event. They're building toward a gauntlet for the gold match that's going to be at the next pay-per-view between it's Jeff Jarrett and his elite guard versus 3 Live Crew and Ken Shamrock. And if you don't know what a gauntlet for the gold is, it's basically a Royal Rumble. But you can pinfall and submit as well as throw somebody out of the ring. And once you get down to the final 2, they have a one-on-one match. And then whoever wins that would be the NWA champion. So at this point, they're bringing in Ken Shamrock. They definitely leave you wanting more, which is always a good thing.
And when you look back as well, you've been watching WCW 2000 with the mayor. That's such a Russo tactic. Go off there with a massive brawl, keep people interested. The last thing they see is complete chaos. How's it going to pan out next week? He did it he did it all through the Attitude Era with WWF, then again with WCW, doing it there with TNA, and it's a good hook. End with some madness. It's great, and this as of episode 5, the format's working, the short matches are working. Just really enjoyed the episode. Yeah, my 3 things were. Enjoyed it being so wrestling forward, more story into the X Division, and Team Japan versus AMW. I wasn't going to put Dennis Rodman on there, but we couldn't go without passing comment on that bullshit.
I mean, yeah, Dennis Rodman's on the show, whether how uneventful it is, we got to talk about it. So then we go to, it is July the 9th. I'm going to let you do the show rundown, Dan, because you're better with the names.
Okay. So you say that, and then the first thing I see is the Naturals, and I can't remember their names no matter how hard I try. But it was the Naturals versus Triple X, which is Christopher Daniels and Primetime English Skipper. So it was good to see them. I have to go through my notes now because I don't actually have the results handy in them. Let me see who won that.
Triple X.
Oh, that was. But right, we'll come to this because it was actually this one went to the time limit.
Yep, I think it's the first one that we've had so far that went to a time limit, right?
But we'll discuss that in a little bit. The second match was Kazarian and Michael Shane versus Sharkboy and D-Ray 3000. 10 guesses who won that one, folks at home. It was Kazarian and Michael Shane. A third tag match in a row, Abyss and Alex Shelley, newly united under the management of Goldilocks versus, I've just got them down as Bats and Clark, and I can't remember the first names.
Jarrell and Mikey?
Mike Bats and Jarrell Clark, yep. Again, 10 guesses who won that one. It was Abyss and Alex Shelley. Another tag match, the Elite Guard versus 3 Live Crew. Who won that one?
Elite Guard.
Yeah, of course, it was Elite Guard there. And then the triple threat main event after 4 tag team matches, Petey Williams versus Chris Sabin versus AJ Styles, which is pretty much X Division royalty. And the winner
they would have lost me on this entire fucking show had it not been for Elix Skipper being in the opening match and the closing match, because I think the main event in this show, the triple threat match between William Sabin and AJ Styles, it might have been bell for bell the best match we've seen in all of these TNA episodes that we watched. It was just fucking incredible. It was great from beginning to end, and it's less than 10 minutes long, so that'll tell you how good it was.
Yeah, exactly. It was, he was in the match, AJ was in the match, so it was phenomenal. Petey Williams and Sabin, Sabin's very early 20s at this point. Petey Williams is maybe slightly older, but all of these guys just absolutely killed it. And it was one of those triple threat matches where it boiled down to just 2 people so often, but there was always a reason for it. It never felt like somebody was just taking a breather. They were taking the time to sell the moves, and like, okay, somebody got kicked, somebody got a full-on kick in the face. He's down for a bit. That makes sense. Yeah, it was just so good.
And it wasn't somebody taking a piss outside the ring for 10 minutes. If someone was down, they were inside the ring, and you could still visually see them with your eyes as to where they were. And that they've kind of gotten away from it now, so kind of in the WWE, where it's not so much of two guys fighting or one guy takes a piss break. And that's why a lot of times I sour on triple threat matches, because it's like that. But as long as, like you said, it was always after a big move had happened and you could visually still see the person in the ring selling, which I don't have a problem with that as much as someone's rolled under the ring for 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not the old Roman sleeping treatment from the Rumble that time, whenever it was. But yeah, it just really, it's the nuances in the match. When you see them selling the move, when one of them will hit a move on one guy, then the other guy comes in, and they go sort of in a round robin of all three getting a move in. But then one of them's hurt more than the others, so the other two go at it for a bit because he's a non-factor.
Right.
Just so fucking good. And it's a real shame because this one was a real break from the formula, which is sort of the second thing I've noted down, because the first thing here was that the main event was completely awesome. So I definitely agree with you on that. But prior to this, we'd had like an X Division match or X Division tag match to open the show hot and get the crowd pumped.
Yeah.
And this was just tag match after tag match after tag match. And it really didn't work. It was a fairly dull first part of the show. It was kind of cool seeing Daniels tagging with Elix Skipper, but the match itself, I think, was it this one where the commentators were just talking about anything but the match? Was that in the next episode?
I think that might have been the next episode, because they were kind of talking about they were pushing the Naturals feud with
AMW.
Because I think they had a double ladder match coming up at the pay-per-view. So they were talking a lot about that. And this is the one that came down to our first ever time limit draw. And Larry Zbyszko was our special with Bruno. Larry Zbyszko. Anyway, sorry. He was our judge for the night, and he ruled that actually Triple X defeated the Naturals, the tag team champions. So like I said, always sign me up for Elix Skipper, and you can never go wrong with Christopher Daniels. So that's a tag team that I didn't know ever existed, but I need to see a lot more matches of. You know what I mean?
Well, this is them reuniting, so they were like one of the original sort of foundation tag teams of in TNA, I think. So yeah, it was really cool to see them. I actually like that the match went to the time limit draw, because they've been pushing that for weeks now. We finally get to see it, but it was in a match that both teams looked like they were just thrown out there for that. It didn't have any zip to it. It didn't have any consequences, and the crowd were dead. But then this crowd, for some reason, was the quietest we've seen so far. There was some good stuff in it. Abyss and Alex Shelley tagging is a pretty cool dynamic. There was, and apart from everybody put a shift in, apart from really the opener, and they were just kind of non-responsive up until the main event.
Maybe they had the least amount of beer in them.
Yeah, maybe this was the first taping of the day, and it was like 11 a.m. and nobody got pissed yet.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. There was a guy at the beginning of the first episode that we watched, and he had a sign with an arrow, and he was holding it up to his neck, and he had a giant hickey on his neck, and the sign said, "Dennis Rodman did this to me," with the sign pointing straight to the hickey. Which if Dennis Rodman did that to you, then congratulations, sir. You now have herpes.
You've now got 7 different STDs, allegedly.
Sorry, buddy, but guess what? Carmen Electra's got them too, so that must make you feel a little bit better.
Well, anyway, and Madonna, but she probably had more to begin with.
She gave them to him, allegedly.
Yeah, we always got to say allegedly. It's the legal loophole.
Exactly.
So yeah, it was. Oh God, I had one more thing. You've already done the impression, but what did you think of Zbyszko and Dusty's promo?
It was something that's for sure. I think they've probably done better promos in their days. This wasn't one of them. This was weird.
It was horseshit.
It was bad.
And I hate to, I hate to be overly critical of one of the greats and Larry Zbyszko, but yeah, it was all a bit rambling nonsense. It was kind of like just go fill 5 minutes. Okay.
It's like we paid him $2,000 to be here. We might as well get something out of him. Go out there and for God's sakes, do not mention Shea, Stanny M, or fucking Bruno. Do you understand me? Don't do it.
He managed it, in fairness, but yeah, it wasn't good. And it killed what little energy the crowd had before the main event. But thankfully, that main event brought everybody up to speed. I really can't stress it. Just to go back to it, I really can't stress enough how good that match was. But now I get to be annoyed about something else because they've started calling Alex Shelley Goldilocks' baby bear, which just feels creepy.
And I don't like. Where did that come from? Why baby bear? I don't get it.
Is it
Why
because
not baby
he's
Freddie Prinze Jr.? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Is it because he's a younger guy and she's not old, Goldilocks, at this point.
Right, it's not like she's like 60.
Well, at this point, what, back then?
Well, she's 60 now, but I'm saying she wasn't
60. Yeah, so she was like 38.
Yeah, something like that. I'm not familiar with Goldilocks. I know nothing about it.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't either. But yeah, it was a shit nickname. But anytime I get to see Abyss on my screen, I'm happy.
Yeah, and I like the sort of, they got like a dynamic going here, and I guess we'll talk about it maybe more in the next episode because that's when he really was. Or did he have a match on this one too? I can't remember. I think it was the next one.
Yeah, I think it was the next one because Abyss and Shelley tagged on this one for the first time, and then over the next couple of weeks, they're sort of teasing a rift building. But Abyss just has such a different presence to everybody on TNA at the minute with his size and his power, and they've got Monty Brown who's the powerhouse and the explosiveness and whatnot. But Abyss is just like size and mass and violence.
Right, and that's not you're getting a lot of smaller body guys on this show, so you're absolutely right about him looking much different than anyone else you see on here. So we move to the 16th of July, where we have Triple X defeating Team, which I won't try to say those names because I'll butcher them. Sabu defeated Alistair Ralphs. Again, we'll let you just, as Dan would say, if I didn't already tell you, we'll let you guess who won that one. Alex Shelley defeated Roderick Strong, which a very young Roderick Strong here, which was fun to see. Monty Brown defeated Lex Lovett, which is a terrible fucking name, and America's Most Wanted defeated Frankie Kazarian and Michael Shane. Dan, what was one of your favorite high points from the show, or maybe a low point?
So just before I get into that, I forgot to mention something from the previous episode. What the fuck was the point of Jeff Hammond?
Oh God, yeah, no, that was no.
And weirdly, he kind of grows on me at some point. In fact, it might be this episode. Let me just go back. Oh, Alistair Ralphs, just for anybody who did watch TNA back then, would go on to be the wrestler known as A1, who knocked around for quite a while in TNA. Yeah, this was a match. So the opening match, Team Japan versus Triple X. You've got Nasawa and Miyamoto in there with Elix Skipper and Chris Daniels. Those guys are doing their thing, which is bloody good between them. They're all good wrestlers, really good tag team chemistry and all the rest of it. This pissed me off, actually. I was so annoyed. I wanted to focus on the match. All the commentators, especially that fucker Hammond, were just talking about anything else. Just anything else. All the stuff with Jarrett, with Monty Brown, with Jeff Hardy. And it was 2.5 minutes before they finally mentioned the people in the ring. And it just took me completely out of it. Normally, I'm good at tuning out commentators, but I want to listen to Don West and Mike Tenay because they're that good. But they were given this directive, and then straight after that, they start talking to each other about a judge's decision in a match the other night. And I'm there as a TV viewer, 22 years later, thinking, if you guys don't care enough to call the match, why should I care enough to pay attention?
Yeah.
And then eventually, this was actually the point where Jeff Allen started to win me over. He brought it back around to what was going on in the ring. The new guy, the one who's, fair enough, he commentates or does stuff on media stuff with NASCAR. But he's not a wrestler. He's not a wrestling commentator, and it was him that brought it back. And it was with just a couple of minutes left. Elix Skipper hits that double buckshot lariat, and then shortly after we're into the finish with Triple X hitting the powerplex. And it's just like, you guys just talked all the way through that to the point I couldn't even be bothered to type notes out about what was going on in the ring. It was the first major misstep.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's the first real time where you didn't really like what you heard on commentary from TNA, because we put those guys over almost every single time we do the show. So, it was just weird to have the NASCAR guy out there, and I don't know how you accommodate NASCAR, but I imagine it's and around they go, and around they go.
These motherfuckers are going fast and turning left.
Look at that shit. I felt like they were trying to they were pointing out his new whatever special they have, like the 6 points of
impact. Yeah,
6 points of impact, which I don't think those are very good either, because they do it in 90 seconds or something, so you're not even really able to get more than 1 or 2 questions out. And I get that they're trying to get through the TV show quicker with segments because they only have 40 minutes or 41 minutes, whatever it is. But I just, if you can only do 90 seconds of something where he can only ask a certain number of questions, and he already talks really slowly, which there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, his presence did nothing for me. He won you around, but for me, if Jeff Hammond is never on another episode of TNA Impact, I certainly won't be upset about it. But
I won't care. I wouldn't care, but yeah, it was the fact that it wasn't West or Tenay that brought it back to the match. It was just him. That was the good thing he did. And those 6 points of impact segments, they were okay. They weren't great. At least they were short, And with the one with Jeff Jarrett, I can't remember if that was in this episode, but whichever time it was, he did one with Dusty and one with Jarrett, and Jarrett managed to get things over. He's talking about this. He's asked about the storylines. Jarrett's presenting his point, and there's nothing worse than a heel who has a point.
Yeah.
And he manages to do that and still be a twat about it. But that's, that, like you said, that was done in 90 seconds. So if you're going to do it, give it maybe 2 minutes to at least have enough time. Because the guy actually asked 6 questions in each 90-second period. It just didn't feel like it. It was almost too quick to keep an ear out for. It was very.
Isn't that the one with Dusty Rhodes, and try to get Dusty Rhodes to answer 6 questions in 90 seconds? No, that's not going to happen.
One of the best things I've seen, just off topic slightly, was talking about people staying on point, was Bret Hart. I went to the evening with Bret Hart last September, and the interviewer would ask him a question. I think Bret had been on a bit of the black bit of Guinness before the show. That dude started answering the question, went off on 17 tangents for about 15 minutes, and then finally asked, "Wait, what was the question?" Got asked the question again. Got asked the question again, and then answered it in 2 minutes. But the dude was telling stories that was so funny. It was just, I don't care what's going on. I just want to hear all this.
Yeah, no, Brett can really tell some great stories. I always love the stories when he tells the funny stories about Owen Hart. It's just Brett's a great storyteller for sure.
But back to Impact. I think we're agreed on the commentary.
Not great in that first match for sure. No.
Yeah, came back around, but really shit the bed in the opener.
I thought the Roddy Strong versus Alex Baby Bear Shelley, who had Goldie and bits with him, it was really cool. I mean, you get to see a very young Roderick Strong out there. You start to see the little bit of the jealousy maybe of Abyss coming through. I think at one point Goldilocks wants him to do like hold the ropes open so Shelley can get out of the ring, and then when he does, Abyss is kind of like looking at his hands and kind of shaking his hands like, wow, like what's wrong with me, or like what's going on here. So I think the dynamic of that is pretty cool because you're going to get to see a different side of Abyss because you don't really see anything from him besides he just comes out here and beats the shit out of people. But now you're going to maybe see a different side of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's getting a bit jealous because Shelley's getting all the attention and he's just being treated as an afterthought. It was a really nice backdrop to a decent match. It was very cool seeing Baby Roddy Strong. Seeing the foundation of what had come to be nowadays. I think one of the things I had on my list was just a huge amount of story that was crammed into one show. The previous week was, or the one before was quite wrestling forward. This one, 4 matches, 2 interviews, a few video packages. They were cramming it in, but it never felt rushed. It was just a very well paced show, which is kind of a hallmark of Impact so far.
I mean, I would agree with that. It never, except for maybe the last one, the one before this got dull in the middle of it, but these usually never do get dull. The main event from this one was America's Most Wanted versus.
It was so
is
good.
this the one where one of them goes to do a dive outside the ring and Michael Shane pulls Tracy Brooks in front of that might not be this one, but there was one of the matches where he grabbed Tracy Brooks and pulled her in front of the person doing the dive over the top rope. And then after the match, Tracy Brooks is just cool with it. It's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. I'll take a dive here or
there. Yeah, she was fine with that. Yeah, that was a bit weird. You'd think she'd be pissed off. But to be fair, I didn't notice that at the time. It's only when you said it that I realised. But that was my match of the night because it was another one that went the time limit. I think in hindsight, they shouldn't have had the match the week before go to the time limit. This should have been the first one because the crowd actually gave a shit.
And this one had actually some meaning to it as opposed to the one before. It's not like it was a number 1 contenders match, and just because Triple X beat the tag team champions, they weren't going to get a tag team match. So it didn't do anything for your tag team champions to lose the decision to a team. So yeah, I agree with you. Definitely should have been a different time for that. And then for the last one in this 4-part look back from July 23rd, AJ Styles defeated. We already mentioned Darrell Clark. Abyss and Alex Shelley defeated Team Mexico. Monty Brown defeated a somebody who I really noticed, Antonio Banks. I believe he's known as MVP, if you didn't know before. Also, Team Canada defeated Chris Sabin, Mickey Batts, Sanjay Dutt, and Amazing Red. Raven defeated Kid Romeo, and Jeff Jarrett defeated Shark Boy. So we got to see the NWA World Heavyweight Championship wrestle a match on this show, which he hadn't wrestled any matches on the show. We only seen him in promos and hitting people with guitars. So I thought that was fun to see Jeff Jarrett on the show wrestling as the champion.
Yeah, well, it was fun to see Jarrett, Raven. It felt like bringing those 2 in was kind of bringing a couple of big guns. They've held off for a while. Jarrett's been on TV in non-wrestling capacities. We've seen him just braining people with guitars. They've been keeping the likes of Jarrett and Raven on the pay-per-views as attractions more than anything, which is fine. I fully get that. But just to have them show up, it made the show feel a bigger deal. This whole thing felt like a massive deal. This was the one episode where I really wanted to watch the next pay-per-view, like we said earlier. This got me hook, line, and sinker in so many ways. And part of that was the debut, the in-ring debuts of these guys and the stories that come along with it. So yeah, you spot on when you say that. Absolutely brilliant to see him.
Yeah, so one of my favorite parts of the show, not necessarily the match between Romeo and Raven, but the whole story of after the match of Sabu comes out there and they kind of brawl, because we've seen a lot of video packages of what's been going on between Raven and Sabu, but we haven't actually seen any physical, stuff on TV. It's just been the video package. So it's a little bit hard to try to get into something when you're watching through a video package, but actually see the 2 guys having it out for each other, fighting inside the Impact Zone or whatever they call this place. Yeah, the Impact Zone. I thought it was really cool. Security has to come out and break this up, and it's like I have to go see that pay-per-view now because I need to see Raven and Sabu beat the shit out of each other like they used to do in ECW. So, and that's going to attract any old ECW fan. If they flip through channels, all of a sudden they see Raven and Sabu beating the shit out of each other. They're like, well, they got my $9.99 this weekend. So, yeah, I just thought it was a really great storytelling and a great job to get people, interested in what's going on the pay-per-view.
Yeah, definitely. We haven't really mentioned it, but the whole thing that they've been working into the story on Impact has been that Sabu vowed to his uncle, the original Sheik, both of their him and Raven, both of their trainers, that they'd never fight. It's actually pretty much identical to the build for Undertaker versus Kane, where they did the whole thing where Taker promised his parents that he'd never fight his brother and all the rest of it.
Except for the whole people dying in a fire thing, that didn't happen. But besides that,
well, yeah, I mean, if they had the budget, I think we would have seen that. So yeah, really good storytelling. I'm all for Sabu versus Raven. Raven looked good in the squash match, and actually, the second thing I had that led to this feeling so huge was the squash matches. You bring in Kid Romeo, who's AJ Styles' former WCW tag partner. Fair enough, he gets squashed.
I thought I knew that fucking name, and that's how I know it.
Yeah. Yeah, he came in. Yes, he got squashed, but it's fine. It did what it needed to do. Jarrell Clark got squashed. Antonio Banks, he wasn't the most valuable player this night, but he played his part against Monty Brown. Made Monty Brown look like an absolute killer. Monty's been put into the main event picture wanting a title shot. So it's Jeff Jarrett, Jeff Hardy, and Monty Brown, which is, if you're going to build an event scene, there's definitely three worse people to build it around. Yeah, just I'm a sucker for a good squash match sometimes. I know this podcast is famous for its love of jobbers.
Exactly.
TNA, but one thing I've loved in current TNA is the fact that they've been bringing some local talent in sometimes to have 3 to 5 minutes. See what you can do on TV. Yeah, you're going to get beat quickly, but you get a little bit in, and let's see how you sell this and maximize your minutes. So yeah, it was just really, really good. Raven's Triple H style mutton chop beard was a bit weird.
Yeah, it's going for a little bit of a different look here.
Yeah. One thing I've got to ask you about: Shark Boy in the main event. Yay or nay?
I mean, so the people are always happy when they see Shark Boy, and I get it because he was in WCW, wasn't he, Shark Boy?
Not as Shark Boy, I don't think.
Okay, I mean, he's a guy dressed up as a shark, so I cannot like that. He's from the deep blue sea.
He could well be John Pence's son.
He's not probably not that handsome, but then again, who is? But I think I'm fine with it because he's facing the NWA World Champion, and while it was a squash match, he did get a little bit of offense in, and the people are always behind him. So I'm not opposed to Shark Boy in the main event. I'm cool with it.
Nah, it got a shell from me. If nothing else, it was the fact that they went around the arena, and we've not seen anybody do that yet. They used it sparingly. They were fighting around the arena, in the crowd, getting slammed on the stairs and stuff like that, and on the rails. The camera work wasn't great at the best of times, but who cares? If you can't quite see what's going on, that sells the whole spontaneity of it. Yeah. I thought it was great. Shark Boy got a little bit in. He bit Jarrett on the ass. He did a couple of really cool missile drop kicks, but ultimately he doesn't. It doesn't come to anything, and he loses. But the crowd were hot. He's popular. They were into it. It's one of those where it's a bit like when Kofi was going for the world title in the first time in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Where no, that's a bad comparison because everybody really wanted Kofi to win it. When somebody comes out of the blue as a comedy character, it's more like Santino Marella.
Oh yeah.
In 2011, when he was the runner-up in the Royal Rumble and then runner-up in the Elimination Chamber. And I remember me and my friends were like, oh my God, they're going to put the title on Santino. What the hell?
I really believed in that in that Elimination Chamber match when he was the last one with Daniel Bryan. I was like, this motherfucker's going to win this thing, isn't he? Yeah, and I wish he would have won the Royal Rumble over fucking Alberto Del Rio. Anyway, was that
Yeah, we don't
Alberto
talk
Del
about
Rio?
him.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about it. Exactly. So fuck that guy. That's people always say worst Royal Rumble winner, Alberto Del Rio. Why? Because he's a shitbag human being. That's why.
And he was just shit in general.
I never understood what they were doing with that guy. I'm like, what's the big deal?
Well, but just getting off topic for a minute, but apparently the whole thing was that Vince wanted somebody to take over from Rey Mysterio and being the top person to get the Mexican market cornered. So they decided to bring him in as Mexican JBL.
Yeah, exactly.
But it didn't work. He was always bland.
And they tried to make him a babyface. I'm like, oh, this guy has a butler and really nice cars. Why the should I cheer?
But people did cheer for Ricardo Rodriguez.
That's true. Ricardo was the most over part of the entire gimmick, and he was the only person with any fucking charisma in that duo. That's for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of, I've just remembered that it was you say about charisma. Don West, absolute charisma magnet on commentary, just oozes it. It really made me laugh in the tag match that he was just obsessed with Goldilocks wearing fur indoors. He kept saying it's 95 degrees out. Why is she wearing fur? It's like, dude, the soundstage is air conditioned.
Yeah, he's acting like they were at Bash at the Beach '95 at the goddamn beach or something.
Yeah, it was just so funny. And it just really tickled me. It was such a dumb thing to get het up about. It was nice to see Mr. Aguiar back on my screen with Abismo Negro.
In the tag team match with Abyss and Alex. So that was another good match too. It's always fun to see Abyss get in there and throw people around. I mean, nothing wrong with that. That's always fun to see. So go on. Then you got more of the friction going between Abyss being jealous of what's going on with Baby Bear and Goldilocks. So I'm really interested to see where that goes. Yes, see, I just can't wait to see where that ends up. It's gonna be great. When Abyss finally loses his shit, I can't wait. It's gonna be great.
Oh mate, just you wait. You would get so much of Abyss losing his shit. Just you wait until we're into the Dr. Stevie era when Stevie Richards is his therapist.
And then
go on.
Then you got more of the friction going between Abyss being jealous of what's going on with Baby Bear and Goldilocks. So I'm really interested to see where that goes. Yes, see, I just can't wait to see where that ends up. It's gonna be great. When Abyss finally loses his shit, I can't wait. It's gonna be great.
Oh mate, just you wait. We get so much of Abyss losing his shit. Just you wait until we're into the Dr. Stevie era when Stevie Richards is his therapist.
Oh boy, that sounds like fun. That does sound like fun.
One thing I did love as well was the All-Star tag team match that we got with Team Canada versus the X Division guys and Mike Batts. Chris Sabin, world champion, X Division champion, tag team champion, Amazing Red, X Division great, Sonjay Dutt, the guy for so long, the guy who was the best X Division wrestler never to win the title, then he finally did. James Storm, tag team champion, world champion. Eric Young won everything in TNA as well. Sorry, did I say James Storm or Bobby Roode? I meant Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I meant Bobby Roode.
Honest mistake.
Petey Williams, multiple time X Division champion. Just so much talent in one ring, and Johnny Devine was there as well.
And when Scott D'Amore was on the outside, which very so easily hateable, punchable face. Scott D'Amore in backstage. What a tremendous mind for the wrestling business. They now was fucking stupid for ever letting him go. I've been trying to on YouTube maybe tune in some of the Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling now that I believe he produces. But shout out to Scott D'Amore. Very, very punchable, hateable face, but also an incredible mind for the wrestling business.
Yeah, absolutely. I was lucky enough to be at every show that they did on their last UK tour when Scott D'Amore was in charge. It was an Impact taping in Glasgow. I think it was like a Victory Road or something, some Impact Plus special. In Newcastle the next night, and then another Impact taping in Coventry the day after. And I was there when Leon Slater signed his X Division contract.
Nice.
It was so cool. Just 3 nights of brilliant wrestling. The travel and the late nights and the drinking absolutely killed me, but it was really worth it for 3 days of awesomeness. Anyway, story time. Story time aside, yeah, that match was ridiculous. I've just got it written down here. 25 minutes into this show, and we had 4 matches.
Which is crazy.
It's mental, but again, it didn't feel rushed. And the only time it felt a little bit off was when we had the 6 points of impact with Dusty.
Yeah, that just didn't. The Jarrett one was 10 times better than the Dusty Rhodes one, and I didn't think the Jarrett one was all that great. The Dusty Rhodes one was like a car crash for me. It just did not work. And I'm really hoping the 6 points of impact isn't on my screen the next time we watch an episode of Impact. But I feel like it's gonna be.
But at least that had a point to it, unlike them trotting out a couple of Olympians.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Although apparently one of them was Daniel Cormier, who ended up in the UFC.
Yeah, which I was like, oh my god, look at this. Yeah, he ended up being a UFC heavyweight champion. But I think he's always been a big wrestling fan. I think he even might have got into like a Twitter argument with the Young Bucks.
He'd eat
4 or
them
5
for
years
breakfast.
He would. I think he told them that too.
One last thing. It wasn't in this episode. It was in the whichever episode that the Elite Guard were wrestling on. Do you recognize any of the Elite Guard?
So Hernandez is the only one I recognize because he's later on in LAX. But other than that, no, I don't know.
I looked at that and then went, "Holy shit, that's Hernandez bouncing his tits down to the ring."
Yeah.
A future X Division tag team champion with about 4 different partners. I'm pretty sure he picked up an X Division title along the line as well.
I'm sure he did.
LAX were.
He was one of those guys who felt like he was in TNA for the entirety that it was a company. But I guess this is around the time he came in. But because he's with LAX for a long time, and then even in the Scott D'Amore days, he came back and was a part of LAX, wasn't he? Early on, like 2015.
They did like an OG LAX versus the new LAX. So the new LAX was Santana and Ortiz.
Yeah.
I think they were managed by
Eddie Kingston, perhaps?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
With Eddie Kingston, and then it was Conan managing Homicide and Hernandez.
Yes, because I used to watch. I got back into watching TNA a little bit around 2018, 2019, like right around when they got bought by the new company. And I remember watching the pay-per-view and it was LA. It was like new LAX versus OG LAX. Yeah.
Did you see the barbed wire massacre? I know the hardcore stuff isn't your thing, but the one that stuck out for me was always the barbed wire massacre match that they had. They had to air it after. So they didn't actually air it on TV. They spent the whole episode saying, we're going to on, I think it might have been on their Twitch or YouTube or something like that. It said, basically saying the network won't let us show this match because it's too violent and too bloody.
Goddamn.
But it drove web traffic to to the YouTube and to stuff like that. And then they showed a bit like what they did in one of these episodes where they showed still images and grayed out clips. So they turned it black and white so you couldn't see all the blood.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
I always love that because it like takes you back to when you were a kid, because I remember not being able to get the pay-per-views in like 95 and 96, 94. And then they would, the night after Raw, they would tell you who won, but they wouldn't show you video clips. It'd just be like still images. And you'd be like, oh my God. So it just kind of takes me back. I like the end of the show. Obviously, we always talk about how the end of these shows are really good. He calls out Jeff Jarrett beats Shark Boy. He calls out Jeff Hardy. Hardy came up there. He also hit Shark Boy with the guitar first, but then Jeff Hardy comes out. They fight. Hardy is going to do something, and then all of a sudden here comes Monty Brown. He hits the pounce on Hardy as it goes to black. And so
that should have been where it ended, but it wasn't, because they end every show with various members of the roster cutting little promos.
Oh, that's right.
The next pay-per-view, and they're dog shit most of the time. They're just pointless. End your show with that chaos. You don't need the little bit at the end, so I tend to not bother watching them because it just takes me out of it completely. But the end of this episode, after a couple of a bit of a dip in quality, this is right back up there. And I can't wait to get into the next. So I may have to watch the pay-per-view in between as well.
I was actually going to suggest to you that maybe for the next one, let's watch this pay-per-view and then maybe 2 more episodes of Impact afterwards. Are you cool with that? Because I really want to watch the pay-per-view and I'd like to talk about it too because it looks like it's going to be really good and I'm excited about it. So
yeah, suits me, man. So we're going to do our first pay-per-view and 2 episodes. Yeah, I'm well up for that.
There we go. There you go. So that's what we'll do next month for our monthly excursions into the land of TNA 2004. Dan, why don't you plug all your stuff before we get out of here?
Yeah, rounding up this episode of the Elix Skipper Appreciation Society. I'm on Twitter at DanGriffin21 on Twitter and Instagram. Come along, talk wrestling, talk anything. I'm desperate for friendship. If you want to hear more of me talking about stuff, all my wrestling stuff is on Unbooking the Territory at UTT Podcast, all the side projects, all the main shows. There's hundreds of episodes across so many topics that I can't be bothered listing them all. But go over there, have a look, see what we're doing, what we used to do. We don't put out episodes anymore, but there we go. And if you're a sci-fi fan, the Doctor Who pod, SJP World Media will be no more from next week. That feed is going down, so the Doctor Who pod is carrying on and it's staying on its own feed. So that's the DRWHOPOD, the Doctor Who pod. Myself and Si watching 1 episode or serial per Doctor per season. I'm just having a good time talking about an alien in a blue box. And if you're a soccer fan, I hate saying that, but if you're a soccer fan for all the Americans,
I call it football. Glenn taught me a long time ago call it football.
It wasn't for your benefit, mate. It was for your American listeners. But if you're a football fan, every so often, myself and my strike partner, the magnificent Matt Lewis, get together on YouTube and we present The Volley, which is alternative commentary for live football matches. Come along, it's a good laugh. We have a chat. We make it all about whatever shit we're eating at halftime. Not actual shit; it's usually a pie. Yeah, 2 dinguses having a laugh.
There was one of the World Cup games. I had a cinnamon roll at halftime, and I said, "This is an honor of the volley right here. I baked good at halftime." And if you're ever looking for an American guy to come on there and talk about soccer with you guys on the volley, I'm always up for it. So give me a holler if you're looking for a special guest.
You're always in mind for Arsenal games, mate.
Yeah, if you want to see a guy lose his ever-loving mind on the internet, that would be me watching an Arsenal game.
Well, we'll make it Arsenal-Liverpool, and then you can lose your mind over Arsenal. Matt can lose his mind over Liverpool, and I'll be sat here just going, yeah, it's football, isn't
it? that sounds like fun. We could do that, yeah. That sounds like a good time.
We'll get something sorted, mate. Don't you worry.
That sounds good. Yeah, but check out the main show I do with the mayor this week. We're gonna do our predictions for SummerSlam. Dan's gonna give me his predictions too, because now that he's a member of the TNAwipod team, that means he gets a chance to be the TNAwipod pay-per-view champion. And I've been holding on to it for months because the mayor just can't take it away from me. So maybe it'll be you. I think we're also going to watch the Giant Gonzalez versus the Undertaker in a rest in peace match, I think, which is right down me in the mayor's alley. So check that out. And that's all I have. I don't have anything else to plug. I usually just plug all of Dan's stuff, but he did it himself. So for me and for Dan, we'll catch you next month on the old TNAwipod. Thank you.
Au revoir, mes amis.